Boom. All right. Just gonna wait around for a couple of minutes in case someone turns up and it's not just me crapping on, which would be kind of really sad if I didn't get anyone asking any questions whatsoever. So we'll just chill for a minute. I'm going to continue the theme of the day and go from there, and we'll see what happens. So, in the meantime, I'm going to watch a little bit of this documentary in the background, which is chopper-based firefights. Looks kind of cool, doesn't it? Look at that. There's a guy who was in the war once. See, he's a pilot. This is serious stuff. Pay attention. At least until we get a few people. Or not. You know what? I could just record this and we could just roll with it anyway, and then we'll deal with questions as they pop up. Let's do that, because I'm already bored. Okay, notice in the background we have a very academic and thoughtful and well-structured environment to give myself an air of academic and wargaming grognardi credibility. So the comments and thoughts I'm about to share with you are really well thought through and well adjusted. I'm well adjusted, generally speaking. Welcome, strange head on the right hand side of my screen. I can see that someone has joined. Feel free to pop a question in on the chat. We're just talking about OST, BCS, lock and load, and the GTS systems, and in no particular order. I'm just going to have a little bit of a ranty kind of thing, and use the bookcase full of games in the background as my claim to credibility, because that's what video blogger chaps do. Right, so today I got to play for the second time, and first time opposed, second time as a game player of the OST system. So Flying Pig Games had released OST, stands for Old School Tactical, kind of a awkward name if you think about it, but that's okay. And we played a scenario. What was it called? No Man's Land, I believe it was, and it really drove home playing opposed what the design intent was. Since I've not really been able to get that out of Mark or out of Shane, the actual designer, I thought I'd share a little bit about that aspect of the game and where I think it fits in the universal milieu of tactical war games, and people are probably going to be pissed about where it fits, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So, OST, it's a large format, counters, big hexes, beautiful production, very clear rules, actually, pretty well done rule set, some kind of a case-based system, and the gameplay is fast. The gameplay is very fast. The gameplay is very deadly. The game has a few design choices to understand the intent of or the purpose of. The game has a few elements in it that I think are kind of dorky and I don't get. But I believe the fundamental purpose of the game is to put pieces on a board very quickly and blow shit up and have fun. And I think if you come at the game from that perspective, you're going to have an awesome time. If I was going to net this conversation out into two sentences, I would say, that, or one comment was that OST is the thinking man's Heroes of Normandy. That's where I would place it in the scale of games. And I think my problem going into the game is that I had this expectation that it was going to be another Mark Walker style game that is a riff on ASL that's simple and easy to play, but still really rich in historical detail and functionally feeling like a Grognard's tactical game, but narratively strong. And it's some of those things, but it's not all of those things. And so, we've got a question. Hey, Tony, thanks for chipping in, man, and posting a comment. I'm glad you enjoy the reviews. Feel free to ask questions as we go along, and I'll try and notice the little thing. I've been drinking some of that bad boy. I had a Manhattan. We had beers at the office this afternoon because I pissed everybody off today, so I thought I should buy them all beers. So I brought beers into the office and some queso, and God, I look like a piece of crap as well. So I think it could be an entertaining conversation. Who knows? So OST, for me, like I said, is a thinking man's Heroes of Normandy, and I felt like Walker was, that guy in the background is really starting to annoy me. He needs to go away. That was a Vietnam documentary. I was going to watch it if nobody turned up. I thought I was going to get this kind of fresh take on gaming, and what I got was a faster, cleaner version of World War II tactical gaming, and the beauty of the game makes it worth the purchase price. So I'll say that right out front. I was the first person to order the game. I got it in on $65 delivered for the whole shooting match, and if you can get it for 80 or 90 bucks, I think you should. I don't even know how much it sells for retail, because I don't think there'll be another print run. And I certainly don't think that, and I think that people will play this and go, wow, this is fun and fast. So today I played for the first time opposed, and I played with a buddy who had read the rules in detail, had not punched the game, and I've played once, and so we played, and I think we got it 90% correct. And we walked away from an infantry armor scenario. We played 4 turns, and I resigned. I resigned in that I got beat, and I think we came away going, yeah, that was fun, and we had a good time. I got pissed off with a couple of die rolls. Who the fuck rolls double sixes twice in a row? Who does that? So there's that. But other than that, it was a great game. So question time. A question from Japan. Hi, Ivan. Ask a question. Feel free to. And I'll try and notice it as soon as I can. I'm sorry. As I start talking, the little red thing becomes less obvious. That tells me there's a question. So maybe I should just leave it up. So the gameplay was fantastic. We were, moving pieces and shooting and moving, and there wasn't a lot of rule looking up, and it all moved really well. But I really felt like, as a more detailed game player to a certain degree, and then certainly more interested in historical gaming, I really felt like I might have been missing a little bit of something in a couple of specific situations where some extraordinarily good die rolling. I will absolutely do that for you, Ivan, and I would love to do a comparison between those two games, and I will get to that in just a minute. And you will probably get an insight as I continue this exploration of the 2 or 3 combats that I'm about to go through. So there was one situation as we're playing, and I was thinking, well, I really wish there was a little bit more meat to the shooting. So we're both advancing across the map, and we're coming towards a hill, and there's 3 VP locations on the hill. You got 12 turns. You got to get to the hill. Take them. I went wide looking for flanking shots, trying to shoot past and into the approaching column. Disparate size of forces. There's a fairly large size chunk of yes, we'll get to the armor combat. There's a fairly large force of infantry and B-17s and KV-1 tanks. There's 1 KV-1 tank and some B-17s, which is kind of like a BTR, modern day BTR. And then there were 3 Panzer 3Hs, and then some bullshitty little things that were Fs, I think, which are kind of like toy guns. So, and a few squads. And so as we advanced into the game, I popped off a couple of shots. I knocked out a couple of BT-7s. I'm thinking, okay, that feels okay. They were ranged shots, and that all kind of worked for me. As we got into the game, and I pushed up onto the hill, I got up onto the hill first and then sat onto the hill, he conducted a melee, advance into melee, what's called a assault move, and brought a squad into a Malay situation, right? Against a squad and against a 3F, and then I think I moved to squad in later on. You can reinforce a Malay, and then the Malay is a separate phase, and that happens after all the movement and firing is done. And so he brought a squad in, and then he reinforced it and brought a BT7 in. And that all just did not go well for me. And I'm trying to separate my angst about it not going well for me, and him rolling, me having fairly good Malay factors, and him having average Malay factors, him rolling better and me rolling worse, and me dying and him not, and him dying as well, but left the hex barren. It didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel right. Movement issue that is not resolved, and that's a longer conversation, but I was disappointed with that. So then we had some one-on-one tank duels. There's a tank duel concept where both tanks, two units can move into the same hex and have a tank duel, and you roll for initiative and both guys fire, and then whoever gets the initiative fires first, and then he either kills you or you kill him. Well, I damaged the MGs on one unit with my 3H Panzer IV, and his BT7 knocked me out. Having a historically hard time with that. So when I look at that and I look at how Panzer plays, it's very, very different, right? You're looking at, when you use the layered approach to advanced rules in Panzer, you have a deeper game that you can selectively pick elements that you want to add. Do I want to add morale? Do I want to add, I think, formation code? Use some of the optional variable damage values and things like that. There's none of that in this game. In OST, it's very roll to hit, and most units, if you're going to shoot at 6 to 10 hexes range, you're going to roll a 7 to hit, generally speaking. Based on, let's try and be a little more accurate with that. Here we go. So it's a 7, right? And if you're moving, that's going to push it up one, it's going to make it an 8. And then then what you do is then factor off attack value versus defense value, and whatever that nets out to gives you a combat column you're going to resolve your combat on, and then it's either a hit, meaning you're going to do some sort of damage, or it's a kill, or it's a break, or a shake. And it's different terminology. It's maybe it is broken and shaken. I think it is broken and shaken. But anyway, so you've got a range of results, and when you roll for damage, if it's a damage result, you're going to have 1 through 3 is going to be, I think, a kill, and then you've got MG damaged, main gun damaged, immobilized, torrent frozen, or whatever it may be, right? So there is some granularity to the armor game, but it's not the type of granularity you're going to get out of Panzer. So Ivan, if you've played Panzer, this is going to be very different. It'll play much faster, and it's much, much easier, and there's almost zero table lookups. So if I look at these, I need the cards, don't I? I don't need the counters. And the cards are not easily available. I would have to stand by. Sorry, yeah, the cards. I don't have the cards. They're back over there. So OST has this this fast play mechanic, basically, and I think that's the bottom line with the situation. Is it's got a very fast play. It's very deadly. The experience I had was, look, man, you get in the open and you're by yourself, or you're not in a good position, you're going to get hurt. And the same happened in my solo game with infantry only. In an urban environment, you've got forces closing in on each other, and once you start shaking and breaking stuff, then they're dying very, very quickly. So I think it feeds in on itself to be a fairly, because I think the basic game sucks in Panzer. I wouldn't play the basic game. This is better than the basic game in Panzer. But by the same token, you could take the Panzer game, rules and all, and you could use this game's maps and apply the Panzer pieces to it and have a fantastic time with it. So if you wanted big maps instead of those stupid little, who makes maps that size, that 12 inches by 4 inches or whatever the hell they are. So you wanted those maps. This game, sorry about my dog, this game is worth the admission price for the 3 maps. I'm just going to say that right there. Winter map, the summer map, and the Stalingrad map. The Stalingrad map is fantastic. There were 2 or 3 things that, as we were talking about the game, we took a break and had a beer, and the maps are awesome. So we took a break, and here are the things we came up with that we thought were kind of awkward. Opportunity fire. The last hex you move into can't be fired upon. Kind of weird. It's trying to deal with a different gaming situation where in most places you have a +1 modifier, and so guys won't shoot until they get at you until you get really close, and then they fire at you. Well, that's not how the real world works, is it? Right? You shoot as soon as you see the guy and you got a good shot, you shoot it. If you think it's a 80% chance of killing it, you take it, as opposed to wait until it's 50 yards away from you and then you shoot it. You don't do that. So it's trying to get away from that and also give units prevent the double shot problem that can happen. Whereas I'm an opportunity fire, I fire at you, and assuming I haven't moved, I fire at you as you move towards me, and then it then becomes my activation after that opportunity fire and get a second shot. So I was trying to get around that. And, I think there's other ways to fix that problem. I don't know what they are. We talked about a few of them, but it's not the time or place. The second thing I think is kind of pointless and weird are the luck cards. I get 1 luck card. Big freaking deal. What am I going to do with that? I get to add 3 to my impulse point count for the scenario for 1 roll. And I got to roll first. I got to declare the card and then roll. No, don't care, right? It wasn't worth the hassle of having the cards and drawing the cards. What we thought would be interesting is as one side or another achieves certain victory conditions or has certain events occur, whether they be lucky or bad, maybe they roll 3 6s or 3 1s on their initiative check, or all doubles, all of the same number or something like that, they get an extra luck card. I would do something like that rather than giving me 1 luck card and making me work out when I need to use it for the game. What am I doing with this thing? So that seemed pointless to me and a waste of time and effort. Impulse points, it's very swingy. There's a lot of swing going on. You use impulse points to move. So you want to activate a unit to move it, costs an impulse point. You want to activate that same unit to fire it later on, that costs an impulse point. You want to so everything gets 2 activations. You want to move, you want to fire twice, 2 activation points. Speaking on the attack, 3d6 each, close and personal. So I felt very uncomfortable with some of the swinginess that occurred. Not as much happened in my face-to-face game, and it tends to really make you make hard choices, but you end up sacrificing units because of the very swinging nature of the event. So what else was otherwise? I really don't see any big issues with the game. I think, hey Jimster, and I'm gonna get right to the last blitzkrieg in just a minute, Jim. So if you want to hang out for a sec, we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so OST. If I was going to net it out, I think it's the grown-ups version of Heroes of Normandy. So I think it's a fun, fast-playing game. It's not lock and load. It's not ASL starter kit. It's not ASL. It's not Squad Leader. It's not Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers kind of is in a little world all of its own. That kind of cartoony thing I'm not down with, but whatever. Hey Hillary, how you doing, man? Good to see you. I'm glad you ordered. I'm glad you ordered the game. I really hope you enjoy it. We were just talking about some things I liked about the game, and some things I didn't like about the game. But overall, I think it's a fun game. So So that's that, and I think the rest of the title on the video was me talking about the last Blitzkrieg and a couple other things, and thanks, Jim. Last Blitzkrieg, wow, this game is making my head hurt a little bit because there's a lot going on in the game, and it's very, very rewarding when you get the right sort of sequence of things happening. And I want to talk about sequencing in kind of grand tactical or operational games. And I may need to close the door because I think someone's going to walk in on me in a second, possibly my wife. Hopefully she has clothes on. Or, maybe she doesn't. Who knows? Man, that might be good for you. Hang out and see. So, last Blitzkrieg. I want to talk about last Blitzkrieg and GTS because both of them have a quality to them that is endearing on the one hand and a little repetitious on the other, as I stopped and thought about this the other day. So with last Blitzkrieg, you have a set of features and functions that you have to manage in the background of the folks that are trying to be supplied by them. So there's a challenge there, right? You've got the sort of throw range of 8 or 10 or 5, or whatever it may be, plus 5 hexes. So as a game player, you're looking at the map, looking at where things are, looking at how messed up your supply lines may be, and then you're looking forward to where you can be, where you can conduct operations, and if they're successful, how far forward can you go, planning where your headquarters needs to be in the future, looking backwards to the supply train, knowing you're going to need to move that at this turn or next turn or second activation, how far forward can you bring that, and what are the consequences of doing that? Everything has a consequence in this game. You move a headquarters, you move a supply train, or whatever the case may be. That's going to adjust the effectiveness of the supply situation. The effectiveness of the supply situation impacts your ability to do things on the map in terms of placing objectives and conducting combat. So you have all those things going on. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And then when you get down to the nitty gritty, it's kind of rinse, wash, repeat. There's an aspect of moving a unit up, preferably some sort of armored unit that can fire upon the enemy and kill or reduce or drop, as they call it in the game, the support for that unit you want to attack. And then you either move on or stay, and then you bring a second unit up, and then it will conduct an operation which may be an attack or an assault, as the case may be, and you will then try and force that unit to lose a step or retreat or both, or nothing will happen. And that exercise of forcing a dropping of support, firing a unit, using some artillery, because each headquarters comes with a fixed amount of artillery and you can add or subtract it in a certain phase in the game, but basically you start with 3 or 4 or 5 and that's really not going to change. So you do that over and over again until you're done with moving, the 9 or 10 units that are in that formation, and then the enemy does his thing and you come. You may also use the word mechanic specifically because you do A, then B, then C, then D, and you hope for the best in the results, and that's what happens. Now, that's a battalion scale. So we're dealing with battalions of units that form up into regiments or brigades that then become divisions, and we activate divisions at a time. Same sort of thing happens in GTS, the Grand Tactical Combat System by Adam Starkweather, which is another fantastic and interesting system that I actually played this week on Monday. I took a half day off and we played that game. And it struck me how similar the sequencing of things was. There it's a little bit different. You have a different, you're pulling chits as opposed to selecting forces, so that adds some dynamism to the gameplay. But you can actually activate the same formation, I think up to 3 times in a turn. So if I look at the 101st Airborne Division and I pull the chit for them and I activate them, and they can do all sorts of things. They can move and they can, do engineering activities and do things, and they can't move into the fire range of the enemy. But when I pull the next chit for them, 101st a brigade or whatever it may be, the 101st, let's call it, I pull their other chit. I can do all sorts of things. I can fire, I can melee, I can assault, I can do all that sort of stuff. And I may or may not have to spend command points to do that. And I may or may not choose to move or function with the unit once or twice. In order to execute combat in that game, you have to do things in a very specific order, otherwise you will not be successful. And that was demonstrated to me very clearly in that game, and battalion combat system is the same way. You have to do things in a certain way. Okay, so Kevin, that's fine, right? That's how it should work. We're representing a second activation, which is entirely possible. Accurately combat and how combined arms worked, how and infantry and air all worked together in World War II. Got it. Fabulous. My problem is there's no problem with doing that on one map, but when I'm doing that on 2, 4, 6, and I've got 5, 7, 8, 9 divisions, bunch of brigades and conf groups and other things, now we're starting to talk about some serious freaking grind. And I'm wondering if if we kind of, as we've gone along this evolutionary plane of developing cool new systems for games, we're sitting up here in a pseudo operational mode, and then we kind of drop down, microscope down, or telescope down. I don't know what the right word. Zoom in on, pinch in. There's a modern phrase, right? Pinch in on the screen. We pinch in on this battalion or this company or this platoon and all the little things that it needs to do. And so I've gone from being a division level commander to a platoon commander or a battalion commander. I'm making choice after choice after choice. And the same choices every single time. I'm up here, I'm choosing what's going to happen for this brigade or in brigade or division. Same thing in last week. The part of me does want to go through the exercise, right? Because I want to appreciate why this tank battalion or company, if it's a company of Tigers, and this battalion of infantry, how they combine together to have an impact. That's interesting stuff. But I don't know that after a while you kind of get it and you go, wow, I got to do this again. Okay, I got to wait for the arty. All right, so I throw the arty in, I suppress the guy, or I drop the support, and then I shoot at the guy with all my guys, and then I move a dude up and he melees. And I go through the melee exercise, and depending on whether he's suppressed or broken, or whether he's got support dropped or not, I'm going to get a modifier, and he's going to make a morale check, and he either lives or he doesn't. Okay, how many times do I really want to do that to understand that the crux of how shit works in a given operational environment? Okay, so that's fine. What I want to do with the game, I think, is I want to have the maps laid out across. I've got 3 or 4 maps laid out. I've got 3 or 4 divisions, or 5 divisions, or 20 divisions, and I've got all these battalions, and I want to explore the maneuver possibilities and the choices I get to make in how I become successful. I don't want to go zoom down and go, oh, okay, if I take this unit and do this and this and this, now I have a 2.76% better chance of achieving my breakthrough. I don't really want to do that. And I think we've lost something along the way in some of this earlier, simpler games, the Victory in the West system, the Avalon Hill. And I'm not talking about the guys where the games where we had, snaky maneuver games where, Panzer Group Guderian is a great example. Okay, I'm gonna strike here. I'm gonna get 8 or 10 to 1. I'm gonna blast through. Whether it's historically accurate or not, that's a whole other thing, right? But I blast through there, push my other guys through, they attack, we follow on in the next phase. I'm doing attack and maneuver, and that to me is fascinating. I've played, now look, caveat here, right? I've played GTS twice. So you're talking to a complete novice. I've played last Blitzkrieg for 3 hours on Vassal with a dude who knows the game backwards, and I've played by myself probably 7, 8, 9, 10 hours on the second turn of a campaign. I think they're both really, really cool systems, and I really like them. I'm just not sure that I want to do all of that work that comes with that game. And Bradley, very good point, and I want to talk about strategic games in a second, just as a corollary to what we're talking about at the operational or grand tactical scale. So there's this it seems to be this movement in the marketplace where I want to build big games with relatively easy rules, but with lots of functional detail down in the, well, you've got an AT gun here and a flak unit there, and Bob delivered pizza to the guys 4 hours before, so they're all pumped up and they're ready to go. Well, just give me a 444 and let me go fucking kill something, right? I don't need to understand that level of detail just at that scale. Not if it's this cyclical exercise and I'm doing the same thing 500 times. And I think of an opportunity to do something amazingly different. And that's what gets people excited about playing that game. They put up with all the token counting and shuffling shit backwards and forwards and doing all that sort of lazy BS, right? They deal with all of that so that they can try that off the wall. Hey, you know what? Hey guys, I'm going to go and try this over here with these 3 cores or this army group. And something wacky happens because of the combat tables and all the rest of it. Abstract that last Blitzkrieg and GTS and all these other games systems. See that thing up there, Herkin's Hell Forest? I can't imagine playing that game just yet, but okay, Tony, that's an interesting question, actually. Okay, but I want to come back to Bradley's point. So I think there's this movement in the game marketplace to kind of pinch us in or zoom us in on this massive amount of detail and structure that becomes massively repetitive and very, very cyclical. I think last Blitzkrieg does a much, much better job than GTS does of making that painless at the cost of a little bit of fidelity that I can live with. The defensive values of the tanks are going to be the same as the offensive values of the tanks. In the grand scheme of things, across 2,000 counters or 1,500 counters, I can live with that. I think there's a balance here that hopefully will evolve to in the hex encounter world, and I'm not talking about CDGs and block games and all the rest of it. I'm just talking about kind of the guys that want to build the monster games that are, and I call them monster game, anything that's 3 maps or more, that we're looking to explore the grand tactical, grand operational situation. How can we do that with fidelity without massive mind-numbing crunching repetition? So I'm going to deal with Bradley's comment just now. Bradley, the unconditional surrender game I think is really fascinating because it's grand strategy, right? It's got economics, it's got politics, and it's got combat and military actions. And I think that I want a game that allows me to get off the rails with World War II. You can do on the rails World War II or off the rails World War II. And I really like Supreme Commander, because Supreme Commander, any crazy sort of shit can happen and you can explore crazy shit. It doesn't mean it's a bad game because you can't take Paris in X date of 1940, right? Whatever. And that doesn't really matter. That doesn't make it a bad game. It just means that it doesn't work absolutely historically. Unconditional surrender, I believe that you can basically play World War II out on rails, but at some point it is going to get off the rails because stuff is going to happen. My niggling concern with unconditional surrender is that the diplomacy is too. There's not enough of it, and I think that there's too much retreating, you know. We're dealing with army groups and stuff, and no one's dying. We're pushing in, and they're not dying. It's hard to get good mobile assaults that kill stuff and knock it out. The Russians need to have, massive losses on the East Front, and that's very hard to achieve unless you pocket a bunch of guys. Kind of vague and random. What's that, dude? I'm sorry. What's vague and random? I'll let you type. I don't think unconditional surrender. I don't think it's vague and random at all. I think it's a great game. I think though that I would like to see the combat results table be more deadly. Is what I would like to see. Maybe I'm just not playing it right. So someone said, yeah, the politics are vague and random, and I oh, that's cool. I think the politics could be deeper and richer, the diplomatic stuff. Supreme Commander, I think, does a fascinating job because you've got to make a lot of choices. You know, the other game that does a great job with diplomacy is Third World War. Funny Stuka Joe, what's up, dog? How you doing? It's the Stuka. Hey, listen, guys, if you have not seen Stuka Joe's channel, if you have not master of after action reports and in-game play reports, you need to just click on Stuka Joe's ID and subscribe to his freaking channel. He is awesome. Check his stuff out. You're the best, dude. Axis and Allies, you're a dick. Shit. Supreme Commander has really good. So no, Third World War. That's what I was talking about. The Third World War has this set of cards that you play, and you play a card each turn, and each turn escalates different factions on a track into or out of your sphere of influence. And then once you get to a certain point on the sphere of influence, they then pop and become your allies, and then you get to move them as units. I love that because every card you play has got this set of choices, and they all suck, right? So I get +2 for the Israelis, but -2 for the Jordanians or whatever, and so I gotta make hard choices, and we had so much fun playing the first 6 or 7 turns of the Third World War, the Persian Gulf module, in conjunction with everything else, because all this stuff was coalescing and all these different alliances were forming. And what are the Afghans doing? What are they were called Kurdish guys. They were called the Kurds at the time. What are the different Iranian factions doing? And then it all kind of nets out, and then boom, you go to war, and you want to make sure that you're all going to war at the same time, otherwise you get screwed. Fantastic diplomacy game. That gave the Third World War, makes every Third World War game relatively unique, which is pretty cool. Anyway, we kind of got off topic there. What are we doing here? Finally got to do a video on a war game. Yeah, hey man, nice to see you, dude. Yeah, those videos were fun. I really enjoyed them, and I use your voice to kind of lull me into a relaxed mode. And I won't say you lull me to sleep because that would be a bad thing, but I watch you late at night, in a very personal, quiet, kind of private way. All right. So that's what I was trying to talk about tonight, was this telescoping of or pinching and zooming in from grand tactical and operational, and all of a sudden I'm down in It's nothing to do with who I am as the leader or as the operational guy or as the commander. There's a bifurcation of role. I'm over here being a division commander, and I'm just, okay, now Bill, I want you to go and attack that guy and do this. And, yeah, okay, Bob, I got it. So some of those things don't work well, and I think Last Blitzkrieg is a great example of where it works well, but it can tend to get a little bit repetitive. Certainly, I would look at games like Devil's Cauldron and The Greatest Day, or whatever it's called. Is it called The Greatest Day? I can never remember what the game's called. Where Eagles Dare, and I look at the thousands of counters and I start pushing them around. I go, wow, I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm not having that richness of decision making and choices and potentiality to do something different that something like OCS gives me or TCS gives me. So anyway, so that's just was a thought I had, and then the other part for the guys that were joining, because my but I see many people making comments. Okay, so someone said, how do I, there was a question up here earlier on. Someone said, how do I get bored, or do I get bored, blah, 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 blah. I see a number of games just bookshelf behind you. You're obviously quite well versed. Well, no. How do you maintain the ability to continuously review games without getting bored? Well, hey now, that's strong. Tony, very briefly, I am not well versed in games. I am coming back to wargaming after 20 years away, and so I went on this mad crush to play a lot of games and reacquire and acquire games that had unique systems. And so I have about, I think, like 300 games or something like that, but I've sold 150. I've gone through a lot of games that I don't like, or that the systems don't work for me, or whatever the case may be. And I think what I hope that you're seeing that I'm doing is offering a commentary about my experiences with the game versus a review. There are folks out there like Derek Case that do it, and Enrico Calendale, that do a great job of specifically reviewing games and making recommendations. All I'm really doing with you is sharing with you my opinions of the gameplay. And I'm also more interested in playing the game and sharing that with you. So I have a blog and a YouTube channel. And the blog has written narrative and gameplay experiences and pictures and stuff like that. I'm trying to explore with the game. What is this game trying to say to me, right? What are the pieces trying to say to me as I'm playing the game? What's the narrative story? What's going on this winter landscape here? How can I capture the emotions I'm feeling about the guys as they're dying? There was a couple of games I've played where I've stopped playing because I was appalled. Right? I was appalled at the losses. I was playing Mantanakau, TCS. Where is it? Fucking game. This game here, right? This game is one of the bloodiest games I've ever played. It's fantastic. But the poor little Japanese dudes and the poor little Marines were just getting slaughtered, right? And I couldn't do it anymore. I literally couldn't play the game anymore because it was so bloody. And there was not a stop motion video or a photographic essay or a narrative story that could capture the disturbing feeling I had while I was playing that game. It was really uncomfortable. And that's a good game. That's a great game. right? That's a game that makes you think about what the hell are we doing? Why are we doing this to each other, right? Now, I want to capture the stories. Sometimes they're fun. You know, I want to capture the drama and the excitement of the first or second Punic War, or of Pacific Islands, or of something like that. Like Stuka Joe does. He makes you feel like you're in that B-17 and you're flying across the channel and you're getting shot at by those Fokkers, right? And the Messerschmitts and all that sort of stuff. That's where you want to be passionate to do that, and God bless you, because that's awesome. I love doing it. Lately, I've kind of struck upon just doing live play, or recording my gameplay, or writing about my gameplay. I haven't done a lot of stop motion video for a long time. So I never get bored. My answer, my incredibly long-winded 7-minute freaking answer, and I'm sorry for that, is I never get bored. I never get bored with playing these games. I never get bored with reviewing, because I don't really see myself as a reviewer per se. 90% of all the games I purchased myself. There are a small handful of game publishers that will send me games, generally because I've already done something for them to help out. But I'm not a Marco. I don't go asking for a bunch of stuff for free. So, and he buys some of his games too. I'm not saying he doesn't buy his games. I'm just saying that what you're seeing is my genuine experience with the game, and I'll try and get you zoomed in to feeling what I'm feeling and experiencing what I'm feeling. Anyway, let me see. I got 5 comments here. Let's try and catch up with this. Blah, 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 blah. Stuka Joe, you're an awesome dude. Keep Derek away from thing counters. Yes, indeed. Well, Compass Games, I got a problem with Compass Games, some of their games. I've got Dan sitting, and it was a bad. All right. If folks have other questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I think I kind of got to where I wanted to get to in terms of talking about where OST fits in the world of tactical games, number one, and my game experience today that I played. Played a meeting engagement with Armor and Infantry, which was a lot of fun today, and I think we also got the chance to talk about last Blitzkrieg and GTS, the kind of company level, battalion level, what I would call grand tactical, grand operational scale games, which are an interesting evolution in the gaming world. Excuse me, sorry for I haven't farted, so things are good. So just be happy that I haven't done that. Jim, I currently have the last chance for victory. Very interesting. One of my favorite games in recent years. Love the order system. Ooh, lost that. Didn't you try CV? Yeah, so Jim, that's a really interesting question, comment. Jordan, good comment. Okay, so let's do these in order, just so I don't miss them. Jim, I have not played the CWB series. I do have some of them. In fact, I bought a bunch of them, and I read the rules and started getting into them, and I'm thinking, do I want to do this? Prior to jumping into that, I had played the NBS system, the Napoleonic Brigade system, I think it's called, and and I think that system gave me enough exposure to CWB to go, do I like it or do I not like it? And I love the NBS system, the Napoleonic Brigade system, and I think generally speaking, I would like the CWB and Line of Battle systems. I haven't played Line of Battle yet. I think Line of Battle is gorgeous. However, I think that for the American Civil War, I want to be one level up. I want to be operational, and I want to be in the grand campaigns of the American Civil War, the Avalon Hill series that's now owned by Multiman Publishing. Belkowski, I think, is involved in that. Was it Belkowski or someone else? I don't know. It's just Grant go on to Richmond and Stonewall Jackson's thingy, whatever, all that stuff, which I've only played a little bit of. I really, really like that, because I think my problem with tactical in the American Civil War is it doesn't bring together what really mattered in the American Civil War, which was the art of maneuver and logistics to a certain degree. And I think the grand campaigns of the American Civil War captures that beautifully. So that's where I'm at with it. I still own Line of Battle. I've got one CWB game here somewhere that I intend on playing. A buddy of mine gave it to me. I need to play it just to experience it. So it's that GCACW is amazing system, and if you can get a couple of Battle Above the Clouds I've played and a couple others, they're fantastic. So another comment here. I'm going to scroll back up, so don't mind me for a second here. Do I have a favorite World War II tactical? You know, funnily enough, I don't. If you count platoon scale as tactical, then I would say Tactical Combat System would be my favorite. A TCS. You can download the rules and the Vassal modules and try them out for free before you go buy them. I highly encourage you to do that. It's a fascinating exploration of World War II combat. I think ASL Starter Kit is good. I think Lock and Load is good. I'm more of a Lock and Load modern guy than I am a World War II guy. So there's that. You know what else I like? I'm really warming up to Band of Brothers. It gets a little bit repetitive, and I'm not sure I like the vehicle combat, but the infantry game is great in that game. I just bought all the Kickstarter stuff a little while ago. I think OST, I think Old School Tactical is going to be a winner. I think this will be sold out before it's hated upon, is my guess. Anyone who's playing ASL, who wants to play a light, fast game and likes Battle of the Normandy but wants more meat, then this is a game for you. Someone did hey Stuka, you want to put me in the crew? I'm down for that, but I want to live more than one freaking episode, okay? So you need to do some editing on the rolling there, because I think I lasted one episode the last time you did that. It killed me off. Enrico was the star of that. What's up? What's up with that? He smokes and drinks and he flies a plane and he got to be the star. I hate that. Just kidding. Okay, World War I operational. Look, World War I was industrialized killing. I'm not playing any World War I games. I think the generals from World War I were a bunch of dickheads who used science instead of operational art and the art of war, and I refuse to play World War I games. So that's all I got to say about that. How's that for a strong opinion? And I think I just locked up my comments. You know, the Stuka GCACW games play well solo. Here's why: because it's a die roll to see how many freaking movement points you get for a start. So you can have the best laid plans of mice and men, and you ain't doing dick, because all of a sudden you will have, hey, I'm gonna go. Lee is gonna go do this, and you roll, and he rolls a 2 instead of a 5, and now he has 2 movement points instead of 5 movement points. Not so good. So there's a lot of things that will mitigate your ability to do exactly what you want to do. It makes it great for solitaire. Here's what I want to do. Here's my top secret plan. I want to get as many of those modules as I can from a given year. I want to grab all the OBs, and I want to work out where everybody was, and I want to do like a 5-map campaign, and I want to see what happens. Maybe not. That would be really stupid. That'd be like setting up Gadarian's Blitzkrieg 2 and Case Blue together and playing that. That would be stupid. Okay. Exactly, Jim. You nailed it. All right. Hey, you know what? I'm almost out of whiskey, which means I'm going to have to leave the room, and you're going to see my shorts and my legs. That could be ugly. So everyone avert their eyes, or I'm going to move the camera. I'll come back and keep talking if you guys want to keep talking. It's kind of weird having this streaming thing where I can't see you and you all got to type everything. But I'm happy to keep chatting for a few more minutes, because I don't have the capacity to play games anymore. I'm all gamed out for the week. Played Combat Combat Commander this week and got my ass kicked. I played OST today, got my ass kicked. I played GTS, a Grand Tactical System, Monday and fought myself to a draw on that one, so that's a win. And I did some soloing of Last Blitzkrieg and a few other things. What time, my boy? Oh, Ball Torrent for me? I'm in. Yes, I want to be Ball Torrent. That's me. East Front Series, EFS. You know, I wish EFS would be reprinted. That'd be awesome. Hey, Christopher, how you doing? I didn't know you were watching. I can't see who's watching. I'm on my phone, right? So I'm just streaming this crap from my phone. We're talking about a whole bunch of different stuff. But Bradley, if you enjoy it, that's great. I would buy right now, Conflict of Heroes is the Eastern Front stuff is selling super, super, super cheap. Go get yourself a copy of that before you shell out for Guadalcanal, and try it out before you buy it, because it's not for everybody. If you're going to spend the money on Conflict of Heroes, Guadalcanal, I'd encourage you or direct you towards Heroes of the Pacific from Lock and Load. And I say that with a caveat. That game are a little wacky. There's a lot of chasing of Japanese guys. But there are many scenarios that are fantastic, and there's also a solo AI coming for that game, which is based on the Conflict of Heroes system. They licensed it, and there is also a scenario generator. What are my opinions of the no retreat system? Jordan, do you know me? Okay, Bradley, so do you like Awakening the Bear? And if you do, I would highly encourage you to get Guadalcanal, because you'll have a fantastic time with it, because you get the system and it works for you. You should do that. Huh. Hey, Kevin, really good question. Have I played ASL? I have played the original Squad Leader, and I have played ASL SK. And I like ASL SK, and I think for ASL, I prefer the historical modules, and that's where I probably lean towards. We were talking about OST, and I think OST is kind of Battle for Normandy on steroids, or Heroes of Normandy on steroids. Kind of the, what's that little cartoony looking game? OST is kind of like that, but more detail, more fun, and faster to play, or as fast to play. That's what I was kind of crapping on about. Okay, Bradley, let's see. You said that. No retreat. Jordan, here's my deal with no retreat. Yeah, okay. So let me just deal with, let's do this one at a time. I'll come back to you in a second, Bradley, because you had another comment. I think of no retreat. How's the polite way to put this? It's a combination. It's a game that tried to bridge the card-driven genre and a minimalized version of. You're teaching. Whoa! Jim is teaching his girlfriend ASLK. Marry that girl. Marry that girl. God, I wouldn't have a girlfriend too that played war games. No retreat, for me, is 30 plus pages of rules that are not well laid out, not well written. There are 15 to 20 pieces on the board, so it's minimalist. And there are this ahistorical card bullshit going on, and I don't like it. And I don't like the Italian version of it. I don't like the African version of it. I've only played the Russian version of it. I've seen the Italian version of it. I've read the rules for it, and I'm not playing them. And I don't care about them. And I don't care. I think if people like them, that's awesome. But it's not the Eastern Front, and it's certainly not the African campaign either. So that's my version of No Retreat. Not a big fan. Too hard as an intro game. Battle for Moscow instead, and it's free. So Bradley's wants to play the modern stuff. You should do that. You should get Vietnam. You should get Falklands, because they're epic beyond beyond the pale. Falklands is one of the best lock and load modules, and it's one of the best tactical games I've ever played. Awesome. I really need to get some more whiskey, so stay tuned. Look at my collection, and I'll be right back. You know what? If I bring the bottle in, I won't have to leave again. I'm back. Okay. So Jim says that his girlfriend has kicked his ass in Washington's War, Wilderness War, and Paths of Glory so far. Oh man. So Jim, you either need to get some man lessons or marry that guy there. Don't take that the wrong way. Okay. It's freaking awesome. Get some, you'll love it. It's a bourbon style drink. All right. Let me see. We've done an hour of this. Surely you guys are done, right? You've got to be done by now. Are we done? Are you happy? Have we talked enough? Have I crapped on enough? I feel like I unloaded a lot tonight, unpacked a lot tonight because I had a really tough day at work, and I got bitched out by a lady today, and that's never a comfortable situation when someone works for you that they bitch you out. I was imagining snapping her neck, but I didn't, so that's a good thing. And we kind of agreed to disagree, so that's also a good thing. All right, what do we got here? Is that Atlantic Wall on your shelf? And yeah, I will step it up this weekend. Yeah, dude, here's what you need to do, Jim. You show her how to play the game, get her involved, get all the moves down and all that sort of stuff, and then just smack away. Atlantic Wall. No, that is not Atlantic Wall. Give me some pointers here. If you're looking at the top, the very top, that's Perkins Forest. I had Atlantic Wall a long time ago. And that's Next War at the very top there. Might be the big box is what you're referring to there. That's the SBI title. I guess I can bring this over here without, you can have a look at it. I don't care. Hopefully this will focus okay. So, you know what's a great tactical game is City Fight. City Fight is an epic tactical game. It brings all the right things together for wargaming. This system here is the reincarnation of the Third World War, and I would encourage you that if you're an operational style game player, you need to get some of these. Korea, Taiwan is another one, and this is an epic system. This is a great system, right? Where am I pointing? Wrong way. Doody-doody-doo. What is going on here with this camera? Oh, it's reversed, that's why. Lots of good stuff, right? Lots of good stuff. I like my block games too, particularly from this guy from Emanuele. Vitro Games, good stuff as well. So there's, anyway, there's that. Look, so we kind of entered into the realm of me crapping on. So I think it helped me best if I Next War Korea. Have you played, Jim? Because I haven't played it yet. I've only played India, Pakistan, and that was awesome. It feels very much like the Third World War, but with chrome and modernity built into it. Yeah, Poland's going to be epic. The Poland system will be awesome. So here's an interesting thing. I was reading a 50-page report on the Russo-Ukrainian war. Catch this action. So artillery accounted for 85% of all the casualties in the Russo-Ukrainian war, number one. Number two, it's all about drones, whether they be for spotting or networked at various levels, you know, at 800 feet, 2,000 feet, 5,000 feet. Oh man, I'm gonna lose my connection, I think. So there's a lot of new things coming out in combat, in modern combat, that are not yet modeled in games. So these drones and artillery, the Soviets are using MLRS and top-down ammo that is just crushing the Ukrainian forces. Ukrainians will gather, mass their forces, and get ready to attack and get wiped out by rocket strikes. So massive change in tactics by the Russians in terms of drone usage, artillery, and then of course the T-90s have been used in anger and have done lots of damage. They are basically unstoppable at this point. Now, that said, the Ukrainians have not had capable forces to compete with them, so it's been a very disturbing read of the shape of the battlefield, and people are talking about it seems like almost a progression back to World War One style scenarios where you're building deep or long and deep entrenchments, deep fortifications, because as these guys lay down 150 millimeter, 200 millimeter, 300 millimeter artillery and rocket launched attacks, they've got to be protected in bunkers, and battalions are spread out across double the area. Pretty scary stuff in terms of the way battle is being waged. Ukrainians are using 3D printers to print GoPro mounts to attach them to drones so they can push them out and get artillery fixing, GPS fixing, which has then prompted the Soviets to bring in GPS jamming devices. It's pretty fascinating stuff. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. I think I'm going to probably let you guys go. And we will talk to you real soon. And I really appreciate everybody tuning in, and hope you all enjoyed whatever commentary there was. And thank you so much for all the great questions. And I really appreciate it. It never ceases to amaze me. I just want to say thank you, first of all, to all of you. I will have some random engagement with somebody online on BGG or Facebook or whatever, and they'll make a comment about watching the videos or reading the blog, and I really appreciate that. It's a lot of work, right? But I enjoy doing it, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and certainly watch all the other guys that are out there that are giving up their time and their hearts and their effort to share their hobby experiences with you. I think it's good for the hobby. The more people that I see that are doing this sort of stuff, the better off we all are, because eventually some non-gamer will see some of us playing a game and they will go, I can do that, and that will make me happy. All right, there's one last question. Nope, there's not, just a comment. Okay, I'll let you guys go. Take care. All right, all the best.